Hey guys, welcome back. Let's talk April releases. I'm a little bit late in putting out the video, but not too bad. We've only missed one release day. So again, I'm just going to go to Goodreads and read the synopsis and, maybe chat a little bit about why I put that book on my anticipated releases list. So this would be a good video to put on in the background while you're doing something else. And again, I will link all of the books down in the description in case you want to add it to like an Amazon wish list or pre-order or something like that. So let's go into my office and I will show you the books. Here are the April releases. There are 16 of them today. Some of these up here actually came out yesterday. So let's go ahead and start with American Fantasy. It says, when the American Fantasy cruise ship sets sail for a 4-day themed voyage, aboard are all 5 members of a famous 1990s boy band and 3,000 screaming women who have worshipped them for 30 years. Newly divorced and with an empty nest, Anne is on board as a lark to appease her sister. Once a diehard fan of the band as a teen, her tastes have matured, and she feels out of place amid the sea of bedazzled, airbrushed t-shirts bearing the singers' faces. Yet, when the lights come up and the idols of her youth begin to sing before her, something is unlocked. Maybe that was nostalgia after all. The music was a direct vein to her childhood, the least complicated part of her life, a shortcut to happiness. Between the slushy alcoholic drinks, the music of her youth, and the thousands of middle-aged women acting like lovesick teenagers, Annie finally reconnects to a long submerged part of herself. By the time she befriends one of the band members, not just a celebrity, but someone also in need of a friend, she feels like anything is possible. But a lot can go wrong on a ship ruled by hormones and hope, frustration, and fantasy. I don't know. This could be hit or miss for me, but I am interested in it. Next up is The Book Witch. She can hop into any novel, she just can't stay there. Rainey March is a proud third-generation book witch, sworn to defend works of fiction from all foes, real and imaginary. With her magical umbrella and feline familiar, she jumps into and out of novels to fix malicious alterations and rogue heroes. Book witches live by a strict real people belong in the real world, fictional characters belong in works of fiction. Do not eat, drink, or sleep inside a fictional world lest you become part of the story. Falling in love with a fictional character, don't even think about it. Which is why Rainey has been forbidden from seeing the Duke of Chicago, the dashing British detective who stars in her favorite mystery series. If she's ever caught with him again, she'll be expelled from her book coven and forced to give up the magical gifts that are as much a part of her as her own name. But when her beloved grandfather disappeared and a priceless book is stolen, there's only one person she trusts to help her solve the case, the Duke. Their quest takes them through the worlds of Alice in Wonderland, The Great Gatsby, and other classics that will reveal hidden enemies and long-buried family secrets. This sounds like it would definitely be for me. Going into books is something that I really enjoy, and then especially since one of them is Alice in Wonderland, which is my favorite book of all time. And then also, I don't know, it could give Page Master vibes also, going into the books and the different ones, and going through the different stories. I think could definitely give Page Master vibes, but with a grown-up character and romance, I think that will be for me. Next up is The Escape Game, and this one I think is a YA, if I remember correctly. Yeah, YA. It's all fun and games until someone ends up dead. 6 months ago, season 4 of The Escape Game ended in horror when contestant Alicia Angelos was found murdered on set. Now season 5 is underway and new contestants are ready to put their skills to the test, solving the show's trickiest escape rooms. There's Addie, the cryptographer, Carter the math whiz, Becky the wannabe game master, and Sierra Angelos, the girl who got away with her sister's murder. Or so everyone believes. Okay. Like, dang, okay. Telling us what's up already. But Sierra is not just here to win, she's here for justice. When the contestants begin uncovering clues that hint at the identity of Alicia's true killer, it becomes clear that the stakes aren't high in this competition, they're deadly. If these teens want to win and survive the game, they must solve the biggest mystery of who killed Alicia Angelos. Sabotage, betrayal, and puzzles to die for. Okay, so yeah, I like the fact that it's like an escape room game show kind of situation, but a murder mystery at the same time. So I'm definitely interested in that. Next up is Rights of the Starling. This is the second book in the Shield of Sparrows series. So since this one is a sequel, I'm gonna look at the first one real quick. The gods sent monsters to the five kingdoms to remind mortals they must kneel. I've spent my life kneeling to their will and my father's. As a princess, my only duty is to wear the crown and obey the king. I was never meant to rule, never meant to fight. And I was never supposed to be the daughter who sealed an ancient treaty with her own blood. But that changed the fateful day I stepped into my father's throne room, the day a legendary monster hunter sailed to our shores, the day a prince ruined my life. Now I'm crossing treacherous lands beside a warrior who despises me as much as I despise him, bound to a future I didn't choose and a husband I barely know. Everyone wants me to be something I'm not, a queen, a spy, a sacrifice. But what if I refuse the role chosen for me? What if I make my own rules? What if there's power in being underestimated? And what if, for the first time, I reach for it? So that was book one. I think I gave this one 4 stars last year, I think is when I read it. But the sequel, Rights of the Starling, just came out. So book one leaves you on a pretty big cliffhanger. And so I am excited to get back to this series and see what happens. Next up is The Infinite Sadness of Small Appliances. In a near future where even the smallest appliances are sentient, a young Roomba vacuum sets out to save the humans of her house from a rising technological power in this compelling original novel. In a self-running smart house, a young and sentient Roomba listens as her owner, Harold, reads aloud to his dying wife, Edie. Mesmerized by To Kill a Mockingbird and craving the human connection she witnesses in Harold's stories, the little vacuum renames herself Scout and embarks on a journey of self-discovery. But when Edie passes away, Scout and her fellow sentient appliances discover that there are sinister forces in their midst. The omnipresent grid, which monitors every household in the city, seeks to remove Harold from his home, a place he's lived in for 50 years. With the help of Adrian, a neighborhood boy who grows close to Scout and Harold, as well as Kate, Harold, and Edie's formerly estranged daughter, the humans and the appliances must come together to outwit the all-controlling grid, lest they lose, risking everything they hold dear. So, this is a little bit different than what I would normally read, but it's giving Brave Little Toaster vibes, but mixed with Smart House. So I'm really curious about this one. Next up is Burn the Kingdom Down. And it says it's an enemies to lovers romantasy filled with romance that will leave you breathless, betrayals that will rip your heart out, and a princess who will stop at nothing for revenge. 1 year ago, Rowena Harrick, the crown princess of Tashir, left her homeland in a wedding dress of chains, sent away to the enemy nation of Vanzador as a captive bride. Now Rowena is dead. Oh shit. Brought home in a coffin after an alleged fall from a cliff. Oh, that took a turn. Second-born princess Indira knows her sister's death was no accident. Desperate for truth and vengeance, Indira agrees to wed the prince so she can infiltrate Vanzador, find Rowena's murderer, and burn their kingdom to the ground. Indira's plan is simple. She will make nice until she can find out how to avenge her sister and free her country from the rival nation's stranglehold. But when Indira arrives, nothing is as terrible as Rowena described. As Indira grows closer to her new husband, Prince Alaric, and discovers more about Vanzador, the source of its powers, and what happened during Rowena's final days, she's no longer sure what or who to believe. Because everyone, even her sister, has secrets, deadly ones. So that sounds really interesting. And I think that will probably have similar vibes to Shield of Sparrows because it kind of has this idea that this place is so awful and horrible. And then they get there and it turns out that maybe they were not exactly told the truth. Next up is the Verdant Cage. It says the wall was built to keep them safe, or so they thought. For as long as 17-year-old apothecary Rose Allgood can remember, the towering stone wall surrounding Noah's Valley has protected her people. No one leaves, no one fights, and no one questions why. But their paradise has been hiding its thorns. When Rose's mother becomes the valley's first murder victim and her twin brother is swiftly condemned, she alone is searching for the real killer. Determined to find the truth, she follows a trail of hidden messages, forbidden knowledge, and whispers of a past no one dares to remember. The deeper she digs, the more certain Rose becomes that her mother's death was no accident, that the wall isn't just keeping something out, it's keeping something in. So it is a dystopian thriller. So I don't know, that sounds interesting, especially like the hidden messages, the forbidden knowledge, that sort of thing, which obviously is a very dystopian theme. And next up is Tricky Business of Fairy Bargains. The Tricky Business of Fairy Bargains. Wow. Okay. So this one I added when when it said discover a world of enchanted contracts, fairy intrigue, and French toast. Sounds good to me. In this delightful debut, packed full of wit, charm, adventure, and heart, with a dash of magical bureaucracy and a sprinkling of romance. When Poppy Hill was a child, she was stolen from her family's Montana homestead and taken other side to the land of the Fae, where she spent more than a century as a cook in the Wild King's castle. Now back in the human world, she works for a company that brokers fairy bargains, checking for loopholes in their contracts. But when a bargain that Poppy is negotiating goes disastrously wrong, she must return to the world she grew up in to try to rectify her mistake, facing danger, intrigue, and a pesky ex-boyfriend along the way. So, yeah, I just think that one sounds interesting. The fact that she like went to the Fae world and was a cook or whatever, and then she came back and she is negotiating fairy bargains. Like, I don't, it just seems like it's funny, but it's like you read so many books where fairy bargains like are traps and like unexpected things come from it. And so having like a brokerage that negotiates fairy bargains seems pretty funny. So all of these were ones that were released yesterday, actually. So those are already available. Next up, these will be released next week. First up is West of Wicked by Nikki St. Crow. This is the author that did the Never King, the dark romance Peter Pan retelling, which is not for everybody. So I don't know about this one yet. I actually am currently reading an arc of this book. I personally love a retelling of, fairy tales, classic Disney movies, that whole thing. But that's not everybody's cup of tea. So I don't know how spicy this book will get, but the Never King series, the Lost Boys series, whatever that series is called, it was a lot. So this one, it says Dorothy Gale doesn't know where she came from. She only has the vaguest memory of her life before landing in the dull gray world of the vast Kansas prairie. Then a cyclone rips through the night and carries her dog, and the farmhouse somewhere a lot farther than Dorothy imagined. She's in a strange land that's apparently cursed, shrouded in shadow. And to get home, Dorothy needs to seek out a wizard, following a treacherous path, and watch out for a never-ending list of forest beasts, witches, a cursed mercenary, and perhaps the most dangerous of all, the wizard himself. Nikki St. Crow vividly reimagines the world of the Wizard of Oz, where the villain gets the girl and the girl gets the power. So I have, like I said, already started the arc for this, and in the beginning, she is dropped off with Uncle Henry and Aunt Em, and it talks about how they had this life in the city. Well, he was living in the city. She was from the country and came into the city, and they met and they fell in love, got married, and moved to the farm. And so I did appreciate filling out their characters a little bit more. I definitely think that's one of the fun things about retellings is where you can fill out the characters a little bit more. Also though, Dorothy has a neighbor that they kind of have had this thing going on. He keeps proposing to her and she keeps putting him off because she just doesn't love her life on the farm. She loves Uncle Henry and Aunt Em. She's taking care of them. She came when she was a child and she's 25, I think. And so, she loves them. She's taking care of them, but she just kind of wants more to life. That's kind of the gist after the first 2 or 3 chapters. Um, and I will hopefully finish this arc and let you know by the end of the month during my wrap up how it was. Next up is Stay for a Spell. It says a cursed princess must discover what her heart truly longs for in this charmingly cozy romantic fantasy for everyone who's ever lost or found themselves in a bookshop. Princess Tanadel of the Widdenmar is disillusioned with life as a princess. She longs for real conversation, the chance to build a life of her own making, and uninterrupted reading time. Don't we all? During a routine royal visit to the town of Little Pepperidge, Tandy's dream comes true when she finds herself cursed to remain in a rundown bookshop until she unlocks her heart's desire. Certain that someone will figure out how to break the curse eventually, and delighted by the prospect of an entire bookstore of her own, Tandy settles into life among the stacks. She finds it easy to exchange balls and endless state dinners. Okay, balls. She finds it easy to exchange balls and endless state dinners for teetering piles of books and an irritatingly handsome pirate who seems bent on stealing her stock. She even starts to believe she stumbled into her very own happily ever after. There's just one minor problem. As Tandy's royal duties go unfulfilled, her frantic parents start sending princes to woo her, each one of them certain their kiss will break the curse. After all, what more could a princess want but a prince? Okay, so this kind of is giving vibes like Rapunzel in the Tower or whatever. But you guys remember the one commercial where she like has coffee or something in the tower and so she doesn't want to leave, and it reminds me of that. Like she's in a curse, but she doesn't want to escape the curse. And I don't know, I just think this one will be a good one. Next up is Monsters in the Archives, my year of fear with Stephen King. So this is a fascinating first of its kind exploration of Stephen King and his most iconic early works based on groundbreaking research and interviews with King, all conducted by the first scholar to be given extended access to his private archives. After Caroline Bix was named the University of Maine's inaugural Stephen E. King Chair in Literature, she became the first scholar to be granted extended access by King to his private archives, a treasure trove of manuscripts that document the legendary writer's creative process, most of them never before studied or published. The year she spent exploring King's early drafts and handwritten revisions was guided by one question millions of King's enthralled and terrified readers, including her, have asked: what makes Stephen King's writing stick in our heads and haunt us long after we've closed the book? Bix focuses on 5 of his most iconic early works: The Shining, Carrie, Pet Sematary, Salem's Lot, and Night Shift, to reveal how he crafted his language, storylines, and characters to cast his enduring literary spells. While tracking King's margin notes and editorial changes, she discovered scenes and alternative endings that never made it to print, but that King is allowing her to publish now. Oh, that sounds so good. This book also includes interviews Bix had with King along the way that reveal new insights into his writing process and personal history. Part literary masterclass, part biography, and part memoir, and investigation into our deepest anxieties, Monsters in the Archives, authorized by Stephen King himself, is unlike anything ever published about the master of horror. It chronicles what Bix found when she set out to unearth how King crafted some of his scariest, most iconic moments, but it's also a story about a grown-up English professor facing her childhood fears and getting to know the man whose monsters help unleash them. I think that's going to be really, really good. definitely a must, I think, for Stephen King fans. Next up is Flirting with Murder. And this is a YA cozy mystery with a splash of romance. Some people visit Florida for theme parks and beaches. High school junior Virginia Trillis is there for murder. Accidents, electrocution, tainted hand. Every victim meets a different end at her grandmother Laney's Rococo pink condo. Such is life and death when you roll with a crew of theater retirees who role play murder mysteries from the comfort of their own home in a game they fondly call Killing Me Softly. But this summer, fictional murder has given way to the very real death of the building's beloved owner in his dramatic last testament as the vultures circling. From estranged relatives to sleazy property developers, dead set on getting the most from his will. Adding to the tension for Virginia is the appearance of Felix, the cute guy she met at the airport who turns out to be the grandson of one of the condo's residents. With his charm and musical theater chops, he's the person Virginia most wants to beat at Killing Me Softly. That is, until the day they discover an actual dead body while playing the game, forcing them to work together to figure out who done it. In this comedic mystery about finding the Watson to your homes, Virginia and Felix must banter their way from rivals to co-detectives in time to save their eccentric grandparents from a shocking disruption to the community they've always loved. I think this is going to be good. I do feel like I'm probably going to kind of wish that it was adults and not teenagers in it. But the concept of them acting out these like murder mysteries and then they actually have to solve a real life murder sounds like it will be right up my alley. So I am excited for that one. Next up is Thistle Marsh. Fairies disappeared over 100 years ago as suddenly as slipping through a doorway. It was only the very foolish or the very determined who held out hope for their return. Welcome to Thistlemarsh, a ramshackle estate where an impoverished orphan and a beguiling fairy collide in an enchanting novel of love, revenge, and ruin. In the wake of World War I, the world is a decidedly unmagical place for Mouse Dunn. Mouse? Okay. She once dreamed of becoming a fairy anthropologist, but with one telegram, her world shattered. Her cousin's body disappeared into the mud, and her brother was left with debilitating shell shock. It was time, she knew, to put aside childish dreams. When Mouse receives news that her uncle has left her the fairy-blessed Thistlemarsh Hall, a dilapidated manor in the English countryside, she must leave her brother's side and return to her childhood home to claim her birthright. But there is a catch in her uncle's will, I'm assuming. If Mouse does not rehabilitate the crumbling house in 1 month's time, she will forfeit her inheritance and any hope of caring for her brother. It quickly becomes clear it's impossible to repair the manor in the allotted time until a mysterious fairy appears with a proposition. He offers to restore Thistlemarsh for a price. Mouse knows better than to trust a fairy, especially one so insufferably handsome and arrogant, but she is out of options. There are dark and magical forces at work in the house, and Mouse must confront the ghosts of her past and the secrets of her heart or lose Thistlemarsh and herself in the process. So it seems like it almost has some Emily Wilde vibes with the kind of like the historic fiction setting, but then also bringing in the fairy aspect of it and the fact that she wanted to be a fairy anthropologist. So I think that one will be good. I would like to read that. Next up is one of my most anticipated releases for this year, and that is The Antiquarian's Object of Desire, the third book in the Love's Academic series. In this one, you have two history professors and best friends who are forced to fake hate to protect their reputations. Chaos ensues in the next rollicking historical fantasy rom-com from beloved author India Holton. Magical antique experts Amelia Tarrant and Caleb Sterling have been best friends forever, although lately each has begun secretly wishing for more than friendship. But when rumors about their relationship spread, they're forced to fake being enemies to protect their reputations and keep their jobs. The resulting arguments spark havoc across Oxford University. and when they cause an explosion while fighting over a magical antique. It's the final straw for their exasperated faculty head. He dispatches them to a job in Cumbria where even they can't get into trouble, which proves just how wrong one man can be. In a storm-bound old manor house, Amelia and Caleb face magical mayhem and rampaging ghosts that make the previous havoc look mild in comparison. Most troublesome of all, though, is the secret of how they feel about each other. When it comes to tackling deadly antiques, hiding the truth in their hearts could destroy them for real. This potentially could be my favorite one of the series. I enjoyed the first one more so than the second one, although I did love the second one as well. But this one, the fact that they're going to kind of basically be in like a haunted house and they deal with antiques, this could be my favorite one of the series. So I have high hopes for this one. Next up is Bloodbound, and I actually got this one through Book of the Month. My link is down in the description if you want to join. Currently, it says that if you use my link, you can join for just $1, and then I get a free book credit. So if you are interested in joining, I think $1 is an amazing price. But this one is, I will say, is a premium one. So when I added this one, or I like selected this one as my pick, I think it cost an extra $2.99. This is a debut high stakes fantasy romance trilogy set in a once in a generation duel to the death between rival witches and dragon riders as they battle to control the source of all magic in their kingdoms. You duel or you die. Astrid has always known she is destined to die. She is the last Nocturne witch, and heir to the queendom of Arturia. Cursed by a centuries-old covenant to duel the heir of the king to the kingdom of Vatra for the source of all magic, the heart. And now Astrid's time is up. She is heading into enemy territory to face Prince Zyron, the most powerful dragon rider in eons, with only her familiar, her potions, and her wits to aid her. She is going to die, and any chance her queendom has of curing the blight that's ravaging the lands and killing her people will die with her. Meanwhile, deep in Dragon Country, Skylar and her traveling troupe arrive in Vantra's capital, ready to profit off the legions of spectators swarming to the city ahead of the duel. She despises the royals and all they stand for, especially as the King's Guard murdered her mother. But when her best friend disappears, suspected to have been taken in the conscription, her search takes her closer to the royals than she ever could have imagined. As the duel looms over the kingdom, Skylar and Astrid's fates intertwine. They must battle a growing rebellion, their inner demons, and ultimately those they love most, to determine together if they will save or doom the world. So that sounds good. It says that it is for fans of Fourth Wing, Throne of Glass, and Quicksilver. And the last book on my list for April is Death Meets Cute. I am more than capable of being evil today, I think. Iris Wayward wants to be bad, truly bad, terrifyingly, gloriously villainous. But after helping her sisters unleash a spell to throw the realm into chaos, Iris is left feeling strangely empty, and still not the villain of her dreams. So she sets off for the quiet town of Freywell to build her wicked legacy alone. Things start a crooked little cottage with a crooked little cottage, in a crooked little cottage. I don't know. Goodreads, if y'all need a proofreader before you put this stuff up, let a girl know. Things start with a crooked little cottage, a reputation for curses and potions, and a healthy dose of fear from the locals. But when her ogre bodyguard disappears, Iris needs new muscle. Good thing a fearsome orc just toppled over in her yard. Naturally, she decides to reanimate him. It's a perfect solution. Only Talon isn't the brooding warrior she was hoping for. He's gentle, he bakes, worst of all, he's nice. But Iris can't possibly have a thing for her new employee. She's supposed to be the most wicked witch in town.
While Ira struggles to turn Talon into the enforcer she deserves, her sisters arrive seeking help. Their magic is fading, and the cause may be closer than any of them realize. The timing couldn't be worse, and falling for an orc wasn't supposed to be part of her villain era, but it might turn out to be the best spell she's ever cast. So, again, the cozy fantasy rom-com feels are here, and I would like to read this one as well.
So those are the books that are currently on my anticipated releases list for April. If there's anything else that you think that I would like, or there's something that's on your anticipated releases list, let me know down in the comments. But anyways, that is it for this video. Hopefully I will see you in another one soon. Bye guys.